Hey guys, it's Cameron again, and welcome back to my channel. You may remember a couple of months ago that I made a video showing all of the books that I have in my Zebra horror paperback collection. And within that video, I mentioned that there was a brand new book coming out called Corpse Cold, and it was supposed to pay homage to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. During that time, there was a Kickstarter going on for that book, and I wanted to mention it in my video to help support it. Yeah, the book got funded. I think it got funded by about 900%, which is crazy, and I'm very, very happy for the authors of that book. They were very, very kind, and they sent me a copy for review. So here is Corpse Cold, New American Folklore by John Brhel and Joe Sullivan, and it has illustrations by Chad Wehrle. As you can see, the illustrations definitely are paying homage to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark here. Now, all of you watching have probably heard me mention Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark multiple times. It was one of my favorite series as a kid. I read it over and over again, and I was always checking the books out to scare my friends and family. And even though I was a brave, horror-hungry kid, I did lose a little bit of sleep over those stories because they were pretty scary. Most notably, the illustrations. Looking at that book now, it's kind of hard to believe that those illustrations got by and that they were published in a children's book. Even by today's standards, they're very gruesome, and I remember as a kid having to skip certain pages because I knew that when I went to sleep that night, I was probably going to visualize these pictures, and I didn't want to think about them as I was going to sleep. And talking to people now, I find out that everyone had that same reaction to those books when they were kids. And even though they kind of traumatized us, it seems like everybody is hungry for the nostalgia of those books. For instance, there's a new feature film coming out in the next couple of years, and it's going to be produced by Guillermo del Toro, and it's just an adaptation of the stories from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So that's something I'm very excited about. But to hold me over, I have Corpse Cold. This book features 20 brand new stories, all written in vein of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, as well as the illustrations, as you can see. I'm going to just go ahead and go through the illustrations first because they're amazing. There's one right there. It's amazing how spot on these illustrations are compared to the original Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark illustrations by Stephen Gammell. They look exactly like they were taken straight from that book. Here's one of my favorite illustrations from the book. It's just so atmospheric, so he did a great job. So those illustrations definitely enhance the experience of reading this book, but the stories themselves are really fun. Now, this is an anthology, and like every anthology, and even like the original Scary Stories books, not all of the stories are amazing. Some are better than others. There are stories in this book that scared me, some made me laugh, and then there were others that were just okay. So I was going back and forth on whether to give this book 4 or 5 stars. I wasn't really sure, but then thinking back on it to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I realized that the variety of all the different stories within this book just enhances the experience. I am going to mention a couple of my favorite stories within this book. There is Zarni Lud, which really creeped me out. I read it before bed and was kind of regretting it. So, very good, very creepy. It kind of goes with the theme that what you don't see is scarier than what you do see. Then there was the story Friendship Dead and Buried, which was really funny, as well as the story right after that, which was called Autoplay On. Very, very funny stories. Creepy up until the twist ending, and then you realize, ha. And then there was It That Decays. That really grossed me out. If you like body horror, I think you're gonna love that story. For me, it was really disgusting, and I had a really hard time reading it. So, I loved it. So those are just a couple of my favorite stories within the book, and yeah, I'm giving it 5 stars. I had a great experience reading this book. Between the stories and the illustrations, it was just really fun, and I didn't want to put the book down. So if you would like to get a copy of this book, which I definitely recommend that you do, of course the link is down below in the graveyard. If you've read this book or you're planning on reading it, definitely let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.